It's time for summer break. Yes, we're coming to the end of what I'm calling Season 2 at Chris's Basement, and it has been a busy one. We did somewhere around 90 videos, and that doesn't include Fun in the Country basements and live streams. So I thought we'd end Season 2 with a walkthrough of the basement. Now, I've never done a video on the channel like this. I have done a Patreon video before, but this should be somewhat interesting, and I do get a lot of questions about what the basement looks like, other than just this area you can see on camera. So let's start the tour at the top of the stairs. So here we are at the top of the steps, and these are kind of important because of my logo. I actually re-poured that step right there, and it's about 2 inches taller. So it is pretty easy to fall down these steps. We have my logo and a giant maker coin, currently the largest Chris's Basement maker coin right there. And here's the opening to the basement. Pretty much your average basement, laundry, good stuff like that. Let's start on the right side and we'll work our way around. So I use these vocal booth curtains to try to separate the rooms a little bit. It is actually about 20 degrees hotter in the farm area that we're getting ready to go into than it is in here. So it does help some. And here's the main farm shelf. It's always a mess. So let's just kind of go through this. We've got the CR10, I've got the FT Mega, and I've got a Castle Delta over here. Currently, I'm doing Palette 2 testing on a Bowden printer. That's my Ender 3, and it seems to be going pretty well right at the moment. We've got the Anycubic i3 Mega. Down here, we have pretty much a pile of parts, but somewhere in there is a G-Tech Pro B. We've got the Lulzbot Mini, and we have a Prusa Mark II. This shelf has a Raspberry Pi on each level, so there's 4 printers, 3 cameras most of the time. All of this is backed up by a UPS. It's not really big enough to handle all the printers, but for an occasional blip, it works out pretty well. It's actually bolted to the wall with these giant 3D printed brackets as well. So moving on, over here is my Rhodes Piano that's currently being used as an MMU2 station. We're currently printing a sheep. You will probably see that on the Twitters sometime soon, so be on the lookout for that. It's currently working pretty well, not too bad. All my spools are back there. I do have a giant spool bar up there as well. Here's one of my drum sets just sitting here. And for those of you that don't know this, I used to actually make records down here. I've made a couple over the years. I don't do much of that anymore, but these used to function as my studio. So over here is where the studio desk was. All the stuff is still kind of there. It also holds filament subscription boxes pretty well, so that's cool. You can see we got Octoprint going. I do occasionally take calls and join hangouts and stuff like that from this area, so if you ever see it on the internet. In that window over there, that's the drum room. We'll go take a look at that next. And any flat spot turns into printer testing room. So right now I'm testing the Xvico Pioneer on top of my recording rack. And then we have the LAC enclosure that has a Prusa Mark II in it. I use this pretty much mainly for ABS. I do print with it quite frequently. You got your filament dryer down there. And when you look up on the ceiling, I always have filament hanging everywhere. I've got about 5 or 6 of these all around the basement. And right above where I'm standing is where the hang printer lives. I haven't printed on it in quite a while, but I do occasionally bump my head on the hot end, so that's always fun. So this is the newest shelf that I put in. Currently, it's housing printers that need to be built or put together. I got some filament down on the bottom. But the main shelf is being used for snappy replication. I actually had to move some of my 3D prints up top here from the main shelf in the recording area, so it's already pretty much full. The snappy replication is going pretty well. Got lots of parts done already. There's my Eris, haven't messed with that much either. Now we got miscellaneous cords hanging everywhere. We've got amps from the studio I just kind of push around. So then we'll move into this area. Here's currently where the FT6 lives. I do have it on wheels now, so it's much easier to move around. I just got done with a giant bed leveling print that went just okay. And in this area, we have the Tronxy X5S, where it's been forever. I've been scavenging parts off of it occasionally. I've got another printer setting there, and then in these boxes are additional printers that I need to do something with. Those will be on the channel sometime soon. I got a box of high temp plastic, got another printer setting over here, all kinds of 3D prints. I try to bag up the prints that came off the printer so I know which one's which if I didn't write on them. Air conditioner, water heater, sometimes you hear that stuff in the videos, it's quite annoying. And then the drum room has actually become kind of the packing area. It's kind of dark in here, there's no light or anything. That's the drum set and all the microphones, all that good stuff. There's guitars piled up, amps. But mostly it's printer boxes, so that if I need to ship someone a printer, I will have a box to put it in. So I like to keep those handy. Maybe someday I'll get back to the drum room and actually do something in here, but until then, it's pretty much all YouTube for the spare time. So we turn around, right outside the door, again there's more amps and storage and stuff like that. There's a few guitars hanging around. Another flat area, this desk, where I completely fill it with 3D prints. There is a completely destroyed Delta printer, that's a G-Tech 3-color, that has been sitting there since the live stream pretty much. I got storage for main boards and Hotends and fans, my old stereo CD collection. What's a CD? And then we come into the main recording area. Again, I have these curtains to try to divide off some of the noise. Here's the filament rack that you see in every video. I've got all my models up here on top. All the filament, maker boxes, boards. Down on the bottom I have the servers. So I have a couple servers and then one NAS unit in there. Some swag, stuff that people have sent me. You can see this on pretty much any video, but down below the table behind me is the filament boxes with desiccant in it. That's where I store all the hydroscopic stuff. I think I got that right. Failed prints, spool holders and stuff in that bin. And the messiest area, you can see the sea of benchies, no pun intended. I've got them everywhere. All the wires and stuff that I need to put back in their storage. Again, more filament subscription boxes. There's the Mondo box. Miscellaneous 3D prints and parts for projects that I have coming up. My Millennium Falcon, more prints, my benchy wall. There's a Prusa Mark III that you see almost all the time. It's currently printing a spring for one of those auto rewinder spools because I had a blowout yesterday. And then down here is stuff that's getting staged for videos. So I've got a printer that I put Marlin on. I've got some filament dryers. Those should be pretty cool when you check them out. I've got the Pulse down there. I've also got some parts for the Hypercube build. And this is the shelf that takes the most punishment because as it comes off the table, it goes right under this shelf and I'll never see it again. You see me rummaging through that all the time in the live streams. All my tools are constantly a mess. More prints up there, more prints over here. Storage, boxes, you know, regular basement stuff. The table, you know, here's what under the table looks like. As you walk in the basement, I also have a couple of boxes sitting there that I'm waiting to recycle. Hopefully someday I'll actually be able to recycle my own filament and put it back on a spool. That'd be pretty cool. But I divide it up into these 3D printed barrels, PLA, PETG, ABS. Failed prints, trash can, nothing interesting. This is what the recording setup looks like. I got 2 monitors, keyboard, mouse. There's a camera on the ceiling up there. I just have a couple of sheets of plastic with magnets attached to the ductwork. My head is really close to the ductwork when I'm making videos, so that's how short the ceilings are in here. And I've got the TV and a camera on it, a couple of lights, so that's what all that looks like. There's my broken rewinder spool. My computer's actually down there on a shelf, and something I added recently that I thought was a pretty good idea for if I ever do make filament, I have all my empty spools hung on the ceiling now. There's about 35 of them up there at the moment. I still need to collect a few more. And just to give you some perspective, you go right around this area where we film the videos, and right back up the stairs out of the basement. And there's your behind the scenes look into Chris's basement. Hopefully that gives you a little better idea of what happens here almost every day, and there's definitely no signs of slowing down anytime soon. I will be off for the next couple of weeks, but I'll be back soon enough with some more content. I hope you all have a great summer. If you found this video entertaining, please consider giving it a thumbs up or subscribing to my channel. If not, leave your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you really soon.